Bye. Okay, you're live.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm getting a phone call. That's probably Steve. Commissioner Palmer, I'll hand it over to you real quick.
Okay, we'll do a call to order. I now call the August 2020 meeting of the Scottsdale Veteran Advisory Commission to order. Since I will go ahead and do the roll call. Chair Palmer is here. Commissioner Monroe.
Present.
Commissioner Rigo.
Here.
Sorry. Commissioner Stemple.
Here.
And Commissioner Zymak, we're trying to get in. So I'm going to go to next on the agenda is discussion of possible actions to approve August 5th, 2020 Veterans Advisory Commission meeting minutes. I think everybody got a copy of that sent out by Kelly. Are there any comments or corrections to the minutes? If not, I'll entertain a motion from the commission.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. So just to catch this, Mike moved and Maria seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Next on the agenda is a presentation and discussion about an expanded veterans program and resource information on the city's website. So Kelly, I'll turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair Palmer. I am going to share. So you should all now be seeing a document, expanded veterans pages outline. Does that look like what you have on your screen?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. And just so you all know, Commissioner Zymak doesn't look like he's able to get in for whatever reason, so we'll do some more troubleshooting with him offline. But I did send him the stream link, so hopefully he can at least listen into the meeting. There isn't there are not any action items on the agenda tonight, other than the minutes that you all just passed. So that's just for your information. Okay, what we have here is an outline of information that I am looking at putting on the city's website in an expanded veterans resources section. And this is in direct support of the commission's work plan that we have discussed, and would be an expansion of information that the city already has on its website. Sorry, I was going to attempt to share that with you, but it doesn't look like I'm able to do that. So apology. Oh, wait, here we go. So what you see now is the current veterans section of the city's website. And it's really, it's kind of a hodgepodge of information that we have put together over the years. You see a slug there about the commission, PTSD Foundation of America information that we put there based on work that we did with that organization last year. It talks about the city as a Vietnam War commemorative partner. Just a variety of things. There's, it was kind of a collection of things that we wanted to put online and didn't really have a home for them. So that's the current state of the city's veterans page. And what we're looking to do, if I take you over to our COVID page, is to create more of a resource portal with some different sections, possibly similar to the way we have this arranged here. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about how it will look, but what I wanted to do instead is speak with you about the content that I propose that we put on this website. So back to the document on your screen. There will be header and information, introductory information. We can let folks know about the commission. We can profile the city as an employer, as a veteran-friendly employer. And then also potentially have a news feed where we can post items. Not 100% on that yet because we've put this on other pages, and if there isn't enough routine information to put there, it can get out of date quickly. There would be a resources section. So resources for veterans in our community. And I see this section broken up into these different chunks. A health and wellness section. There we can link to the Be Connected AZ page, which is a wealth of information for those who've been there. The Arizona Coalition of Military Families, Arizona Department of Veterans Services, Tri-West Healthcare Alliance. And there I thought we could also put the PTSD Foundation link and also the Hidden Heroes. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Hidden Heroes, that's a program out of DC, probably the past 5 years it launched, and it's intended to provide support for caregivers who are caring for wounded veterans at home. And so we feel like that's a laudable program that we want to give some light to as well. There can be a legal section. At this point, the only section that I see there is to talk about the Veterans Court that you had received a presentation on a couple of months ago. If there are some other vetted legal resources that we want to put there, that's where those could go. An education and career section intended to help veterans in our community access programs that could help them further their education and careers. The Skill Bridge program that you had received a briefing on. The ASU Tillman Center has a very nice page. And also Scottsdale Community College has a Veteran Services section. So that would be a start for that section. And then finally, I also proposed a business and economy section in the resources page where we could put links to things like the Southwest Veterans Chamber of Commerce. A question that had come up before is how would we vet these to make sure that we're providing good information? What you see here is essentially a list of other organizations who will have vetted the information that they're providing. So there is I think there would be a belief that the resources being offered through these organizations would be things that were legitimate and useful to our veterans. I see a hand up from Commissioner Regal. Yes, sir.
Kelly, just a quick question. When you're talking about business and economy, we had talked in the past about possibly having businesses that are veteran friendly or something along those identified. Are you talking about having it here, or are you expecting Southwest Veterans Chamber of Commerce to vet that? I'm just asking the question.
I honestly have not dived too deeply into this topic. I would very much hesitate to attempt to take that on.
Okay.
And so I would look to an organization such as the Southwest Veterans Chamber of Commerce as potentially the place where if there were a local business that wanted to be listed, we could recommend that they instead join the Southwest Valley Chamber, and through that they could.
Yeah, that was my concern. You're kind of forcing them to become members of the Southwest Chamber of Commerce, and I'm not that sounds like a pay to play kind of thing.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. We could think more about it, but I have not reached out to, this would probably be a similar situation, but I have not reached out to the Scottsdale Chamber. I know at one time they were working on a Veterans Affairs Committee, and I could have a conversation with them about whether they separately list their members who are veterans. It could be the same type of thing, but I don't really have a mechanism through which we would create our own list. I suppose at some point we could look into that. Chair Palmer.
Maybe just to kind of wrap it up, whomever we pick, maybe they will do either discounted or free to somebody that's let's call it veteran supported organization, or one that, does things for the veterans. Just a thought.
Thank you. I will make a note of that. Chair Palmer.
Yeah, on that subject, first of all, we also, not just companies that have veteran opportunities, but also companies that are veteran owned. Do you see that falling into the same category, or would it be the city would like to highlight veteran owned companies in the city?
In my viewpoint, it's really it's both. I think it would be. I would say.
I just wanted to see if you saw them in the same category. So the other aspect is and I forgot which city title is, but the entertainment, the group that says here's all the activities in Scottsdale, that website and group that the city sponsors. Why couldn't we have veteran friendly as part of that group? Because I don't think they charge anything to be on that site, part of that group. You see where I'm going? And I'm sorry, I just can't think of the name.
Chair Palmer, I think I understand. I would also, I think you might be talking about Experience Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Okay. And they actually are a membership driven organization. So, and they're really quite laser focused on the tourism side of things. I guess we could agree that there is probably some room for us to flesh out what we want this particular section to be, and pursue the right sort of organizations potentially to tap into to make that happen.
Okay, so the Experience Scottsdale has a membership fee, is what you just told me.
Yes, they are a membership organization.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Thank you, Chair Palmer. It looks as though Commissioner Zymek has joined us and he has his hand raised. Steve, are you there? Oh, wait, I think I have to allow him to talk. Okay.
You sure you want to do that?
I have allowed him to talk. Steve, I think you can unmute yourself.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Oh, success.
That is Coast Guard perseverance right there.
Yeah, there we go. Sometimes always ready doesn't really happen. But just the only comment I'd like to make about the veteran-owned entities or companies is I think that's a slippery slope, because there is the official veteran-owned company that's sanctioned and approved by the federal government. And then I think we probably all know companies that are owned by veterans that promote themselves as veteran-owned. So the slippery slope is, are we going to promote the official sanctioned by the government as veteran-owned, or just a veteran-owned business?
But I think that would have to be this is Pete. That's making this. First of all, I understand the distinction because I've had some discussions. The official owned ones that register with the government to be official veterans owned are looking for some kind of benefit, either in contracts or something else. So you take one like a doctor's office that is now run by a former veteran and owns the practice. They have no reason to sign up with the official program because there's no benefit for them to do that.
The only real benefit is there's an official veteran-owned logo that's put out by the feds.
Yeah.
And technically you have to be registered with them to use that logo on your website and on your door.
Yep, I understand. The ones I've talked to is that they didn't see a real big business case to do that. So that was part of it. I was looking more to catch the veteran zone just to highlight how many businesses numbers wise was in Scottsdale, but fully understand the official veteran zone versus the others.
I see Commissioner Regal's hand up. Is that a new hand raise?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Kind of piggybacking on both Steve's and Pete's comments, at least from my days back in contracting, government contracting in particular, being minority owned, women owned, veteran owned, gave you certain opportunities for government, state, local contracts, whatever the municipalities legal wanted to go do. And that I think fits into what you're saying, Pete. That may not necessarily, or Steve, that may not necessarily be advantage to even list that here. What I'm more interested in trying to do is highlight the businesses that do a benefit discount to veterans and their families as something, as a resource to put out to all the other veterans out there. That's really where I'm leaning towards. The other folks can put whatever they want and how they want to say they're a veteran and get their business along those lines. That's great. But if they're going to do something of benefit to veterans, then I really want to give them a pat on the back or recognition.
Yeah, I forgive me for butting in, but I just raised my hand. But I agree there too, because you wonder how many of the veterans, especially maybe homeless veterans or those that are struggling to get by, know that Home Depot gives you a 10% discount, and know all the different stores that give you a 10% or more discount. That's a great idea.
Thank you. Commissioner Monroe has her hand raised.
I just wanted to say I agree with that. It's more important to list those who give discounts to veterans. But I think the probably challenge is how we're going to vet them, or who's going to vet them for us. Because I'd hate for us to list somebody and then find out they're shady or something. So that may be something we need to delve into, is the process for vetting them so that they can be on the website.
Thank you, Commissioner Monroe. Chair Palmer. Oh, looks like Pete's hand is down.
No, sorry, I hit the wrong button.
It's
I meant
back
to hit
up.
unmute. Hey, what I think what you were saying, Kelly, is, and I'm trying to summarize our whole discussion here. First of all, 3 different groups of discussions in terms of recognizing. I fully concur on highlighting veterans that or businesses that reward veterans. What I heard you say, Kelly, is instead of advertising it on our marketing space, that we find the correct organization to maybe funnel those groups through. Is that? It's a question. Is that what you were recommending?
That's my recommendation. Although admittedly, it's not based on a ton of research into how that would work. But I think.
Can I propose we table this discussion now, and we say that at least the business piece, and we do some research to figure out what options we have.
Thank you, Chair Palmer. I will happily do that. I see Commissioner Stemple's hand is raised.
Yeah, excuse me, can you hear me?
Yes.
There is an organization that has one of those lists. And I think I know how to contact somebody, because I just got one of those lists, and I didn't do anything with it. But if you want me to pursue that, I will. And then Kelly, I can send you the link or the information, and then you'll have that, and we can bring it up and finalize it in the future. So if you want me to do that, I'll be happy to do that.
From my perspective, that would be great if you want to.
Okay, I'll get that thing to you.
Thank you. And what I can also do, members of the commission, is contact the chamber. I need to follow up with them about the Veterans Committee that they were putting together, and I can see if they have any suggestions in this area as well. Commissioner Zymek.
Yeah, while we're talking, I just Googled Veterans Discounts Phoenix, and AZ Central has a list of at least a dozen, and there's another website too, veteranaid.org, also has a list of veteran discounts throughout Arizona.
I think that's so the one I was talking about.
Yeah, the work's been done for us.
Yeah, I think that was the one I was talking about.
Thank you. I will take a look at that.
Yeah, it's veteranaid.org.
Thank you. Okay. The next section would be organizations, and this would be a way to list the different veterans organizations in Scottsdale for so that members of our community could potentially join, support, at least be aware, etc. And so these are the ones that I am aware of. There are likely others. But of course, American Legion, VFW, DAV, Thunderbird 2, Veterans Memorial Organization, Marine Corps League has a Scottsdale detachment, Korean War veterans, and then moving up onto the more of the state level, there's the Vietnam Veterans of America Arizona State Council, and then I thought also we could list the Arizona Army National Guard. So this would be a section that that would really just be links to these different groups. Chair Palmer.
Yeah, does this include nonprofits that are doing that?
I would, yes, I believe these would all be nonprofit, at least in intent, if not in legal organization.
But yeah, and what I'm looking at, these are all veterans organizations, but you have other organizations that, you know, like AUSA, you know, we've got a whole bunch of organizations like that. So what intent is all the organizations that involve veterans, I guess, would be the right answer for this piece. Evolve or support veterans. Let's put
Correct.
it that way. Okay. Yeah, I'm just wondering if we shouldn't have, because there's like 2,000 of them in the valley. So the question is, do we bin them into certain categories?
And I will say the part about all of this that makes me nervous is as soon as it gets published, it's going to go out of date because someone will change their website or you know, an organization will come and go. So I think we'll want to be pretty intentional about listing the ones that we do, for fear of the one challenge is you end up with death by hyperlink, and then the other, as I mentioned, you could potentially have some that come and go, and then we've got outdated information on the web. But we can certainly look at adding other organizations. And I see Commissioner Stemple's hand up.
I was just thinking, would MOAA be one that you would want to put on there?
How about we do this, Chair Palmer, if it's okay by you, if any of members of the commission have other organizations you think we should consider listing, if you could send an email to me and let me know what those are, I'll take a look. And the next phase of this project will be to actually draft up a website that wouldn't be live to the public, but that we could look at and massage until we got it to where we want it. So if you have other groups that you think we should consider listing, if you could send those to me, I can take a look and we can figure out how to plug them in. Commissioner Monroe's hand is raised, and then Commissioner Regal.
Oh, I just wanted to say maybe we could add a section, because these are veteran focused groups, but maybe a section for veterans family groups, because they need support too. And groups like the Blue Star Moms, which I belong to, really help veterans and their families. You know, just maybe a small section for that. It's just a thought.
Certainly, thank you. I think that would be very important to include. Commissioner Regal.
Well, Commissioner Monroe stole half of my question. I wanted to, I would say we should put up, like, I have a auxiliary for the Legion, but I was wondering when we get down to the actual binning of these groups, Kelly, if we should bin them by Scottsdale, by Arizona and by national level, just to help people figure it out. Like, here's your hometown organization at Thunderbird 2 Veterans Memorial. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, Commissioner Regal, I think that would be a good idea. Chair Palmer.
Yeah, along this line, and it just goes to how we bend these terms, but because one of our work tasks is to identify all those organizations that can help veterans too. So I'm just thinking in terms of organizations, again, we might want to have subcategories of here's ones that are veterans organizations you belong. Here's one for veterans organizations that are available to help. But, all of them, we'd have to figure out how we bend the terms. But again, we're talking 2,000 veterans organizations like that in the Valley. So I'm not sure we list them all here, but I do like the idea of highlighting where they're from. Like if they're in Scottsdale, maybe we focus the ones that are, here's the ones in Scottsdale and here's all the others type thing.
Thank you, Chair Palmer. I'll look at organizing it that way and then seeing where else it leads. And I'll also provide sections for organizations such as the Blue Star Moms. And I know there are others out there as well. And again, if any of you have any that you think of after the meeting or at any point, please email those over. Okay, so the next section would be events, history, memorials. And these would be Scottsdale specific. Here's where we could talk about the city's Vietnam War commemorative partner. We talk about our annual Veterans Day commemoration, the Memorial Day commemorations that the local organizations hold, and then some of the physical memorials, the Marine mural here by City Hall, of course, the Thunderbird 2 Memorial at the airport, the Chapel Memorial at City Hall, the McCormick Stillman Railroad Park, the Mercy Boxcar, and there are likely many others. I know there's also the memorial tree here on the Civic Center for Marine Lance Corporal Jacob Hugg, who was killed a few years ago on a humanitarian mission in Nepal. There's the memorial flag up at the preserved gateway that I don't believe has any official marker on it, but was created partially after some well-meaning members of the public went and planted a flag up in the preserve to honor a friend of theirs who'd been killed in Iraq. So this would be a place where people who wanted to learn about the different locations and also events in Scottsdale, they could learn about those. And then we can also provide information about notable Scottsdale veterans. Of course, Winfield Scott, Guy Stillman's another, and I would work with some of our local historians, Joan Fadala, who gave you all a presentation a few months ago to flesh that piece out. So that is that's the first blush at what this expanded section of the website would be. I think it would be a big improvement on what we have now, and would start to deliver on the commission's work plan to help members of the community learn more about programs and organizations and history in Scottsdale. Chair Palmer. Pete, I think you're still on mute.
I guess I should leave it off mute. Are we looking at an events calendar? Go ahead.
Yes, we could do that. We already list the events on our website, and we could create a veterans category, and then that category would feed this webpage. So that should be relatively simple to do. We would have to probably develop some criteria about which outside organization events we listed. We do, as a city, get quite a few requests on a weekly basis from all kinds of organizations to list their events on our website, and we usually decline. But we would list the Memorial Day commemorations from the different from the ones that are the one that's put together by American Legion and DAV and VFW. So we could list a few more. We would just have to be pretty thoughtful about who we said yes to.
Yeah, and actually the category I was thinking about was, again, all these nonprofit or for-profits that are working with veterans organization. If they're hosting something in Scottsdale, for example, at one of our centers, after COVID's over, that they would like to advertise that event going on. I'm not sure the veterans event is the right spot or website, but if it's the veterans, let's just, we have an organization and they support the veterans and they're doing a fundraiser or some other kind of event to recognize it, but it's being done in Scottsdale. So Scottsdale businesses and stuff is getting the proceeds, let's call it that way. Would that be an appropriate group to put on this site, or do we want to do that? And that's kind of for everybody, not just Kelly.
I don't see any other hands up at the moment. Now I do. Commissioner Regal.
Pete, just to try to clarify what you just said, you're asking, in addition to the events going on, and something that is for veterans, or I'm trying to grasp what you meant there.
Yeah, first of all, you've got the events that go around veterans events.
Right.
I mean, like Veterans Day and that. I'm not talking those. I'm talking about a nonprofit that's got an event that, they hold a conference, they hold an event to raise money, they hold something within Scottsdale. So, for example, the Veterans Heritage Project always rents out one of the hotels and does a big conference there. So it's more of a notification of an event going on that you have veteran-related stuff bringing business to Scottsdale.
Or like the American Legion's annual convention that didn't happen this year is going to be in Phoenix next year.
But if you were to hold it into Scottsdale, well, first of all, we might want to still advertise it. But
You bet.
I was just
They're
saying,
going to be taking over our hotels here. That's for sure.
yeah. So if they were, let's say they were hold it in a conference room in Scottsdale, then I'm not sure our veterans webpage is the place to do that. But what I'm trying to do is create the dialogue with those organizations to highlight for the city council what's going on inside the city related to veterans, if that makes a little clearer.
Yeah,
Part of this is to let the city council know that we have a lot of veterans activity that's bringing money and efforts into the city.
Yeah, seeing an extra 10,000 people with red, white, and blue garrison's caps on their head walking around next August might be something to let everybody know about.
Yeah, and if we put it on our veteran site, then we as the commission can point that out to the city council of the, what's being done from a veteran's perspective and is of value to the city is kind of where I'm going.
The reason I know about it is we've been asked as our post to be one of the major hubs for it because we're the closest to the convention center. So.
Thank you, Chair Palmer. I'll consider how we could develop a fairly clear criteria about who else we would list. And I am also aware that the Vietnam Veterans Association here in Arizona usually does an annual convention at the Embassy Suites here in Scottsdale. So I think there are probably quite a few of those things that occur, and I think we could get to a place where we would have a mechanism through which we could list those.
Yeah, I was kind of just, thinking a calendar where we just show them on the calendar. Like a Outlook calendar, you just list anybody can post their events there and sort of make it easy. But whatever, you look at what's the best way to go on that, Kelly.
Thank you. Any other thoughts? I see Commissioner Stemple's hand raised.
Yeah, just a matter of interest. One of the things that talking about a calendar, like one of the ways that my organization, Korean War Veterans, were recognized, we had a little blurb in the Scottsdale Republic and told when our meeting was and what it kind of does. And and what, why we exist and so forth. And we have a meeting on the first Saturday of every month at 9:30 in the morning at the DAV. And something like that, so that if somebody comes into town and, new, relocates, it was a Korean War veteran, a Vietnam War veteran, etc., that might be interesting too, to put something on like that. So that goes along with sort of the calendar type of idea.
Thank you. I'll work some more on that, and we'll see how we can include that function in the website.
And Kelly, before we kill this subject, it's more of a check on myself and what the commissions do. One of the tasks with the commission is to basically inform the city council on advise and inform the city council on what's going on with veterans affairs within the city. So this whole discussion we just talked about what's going on in the city, who's bringing money to the city, who's offering services in the city and stuff. I'm thinking our website is one way to communicate to the city council as well as the rest of the city of what veteran related events are going on in the city. And that's kind of where I was going with. I'm trying to think of the form of who we're communicating with. And we do have a responsibility to the council to tell them what's going on. Or I think we do.
We're with you on that, Pete.
Okay, thank you, Chair Palmer, members of the commission. Excellent feedback. I will continue to work on this, and we will put together a test site here soon, so that we can get this launched before too much longer.
Okay, are there any other questions before we move to the next agenda? Okay, next agenda is a presentation and discussion regarding the city's plans to commemorate Veterans Day 2020. Kelly?
Thank you, Chair Palmer. I'm now sharing a new document, which is another draft document about our plans to commemorate Veterans Day this year in a COVID environment. Now, I understand Veterans Day is still a ways off, and that the COVID numbers are certainly looking better these days than they were a month ago. But we've also have to think about the advanced planning that's required, rental of things that are necessary to do Veterans Day the way we've done it in the past. And so we've made the decision to hold a different sort of Veterans Day commemoration this year. And that would be a combination of things that I'll talk about here, but it would not be an in-person commemoration at the railroad park as we have done in previous years. So we have talked several times about a video program about veterans issues in Scottsdale. And I'm very interested in getting that moving. I'm also, I hesitate to put it together when the interviewer and the interviewees can't be in the same room. So that one's been slowed down a little bit by the current environment. However, some of you hopefully have seen the interviews that Mayor Lane has been doing with different individuals, really revolving around COVID and its impact in the community and the response here in Scottsdale. And so what we are planning is to do a couple of new ones and to have them focus on veterans issues, and then we can launch those as part of the Veterans Day commemoration. And one guest we're already arranging is General McGuire, head of the Arizona Army National Guard. And I'm already speaking with his people They actually reached out to us because they're hoping to tap us to help him get the word out and on the topics of the Guard and employer support of the Guard and Reserve and those sorts of things. So that's one potential guest. Another gentleman who we've contacted on and off throughout the years to speak at our Veterans Day event is Colonel Jay Vargas, who some of you may know, but he's a retired Marine, Medal of Honor winner from Vietnam. And he does a lot of work with the VA on suicide prevention and mental health issues among active duty military. And in the past, he hasn't been able to come to our event. He's from, I believe he's from Winslow, Arizona. In the past, he hasn't been able to come to our event because he's usually booked by the VA or some higher power than us on Veterans Day. But I'm hopeful that we could get him in a recorded interview some other time and then launch that as part of this event. Some other options are listed on your screen there. Lieutenant Commander Bill Spence is actually Gilbert Town Councilman, but he's also a part of their Veterans Commission and also part of a group that's hoping to get the town of Gilbert to sponsor the new USS Arizona, which is a fast attack submarine that's going to be commissioned soon. And he's also very active in other veterans activities here in town. And then also I thought actually a mayor interviewing the chair of the Scottsdale Veterans Advisory Commission might be something interesting as well. So those are some ideas. We have others on a larger list. I won't go into full detail, but the idea is that we would get a couple of those recorded in advance that we could package up and then release on Veterans Day. The sort of the centerpiece is this idea that I've been chatting with Fire Chief Tom Shannon about, and that's a special performance by the Scottsdale Fire Pipes and Drums. And I think we could create a nice performance, probably recorded in advance, through which they would play 1 to 3 songs. And then we could also tap into the Police and Fire Honor Guard to do a wreath laying or some similar ceremony at the Chaplain Sculpture or potentially at the Mercy Boxcar up at the Railroad Park, something like that. And then possibly closing with taps by our official Scottsdale bugler, Gil Gifford, who I'm sure many of you know. And so the chief's 100% on board with that idea. We have to work out some logistical details. It's possible that we could look at doing this live on Veterans Day. That would probably add to the gravitas and the interest, but it also presents some technical challenges that I'm not sure I'm ready to confront. But that's still something that we need to work out. Commissioner Regal has his hand raised.
Kelly, so you're basically trying to redo what we've been doing for several years here on Veterans Day at the city center area there by the sculpture. I'm a little confused here.
Well, I'm certainly not trying to redo anything. What I'm trying to do is replace the in-person commemoration that we've done at the Railroad Park with some content that we think will be of interest to the community and be a way for us to similarly honor veterans without gathering a bunch of folks not knowing what the environment will be like at that time. But yes, it does. The idea of laying a wreath, those sorts of things, very much is inspired by the ceremonies that have occurred out here at City Hall. So I suppose there is an opportunity to potentially combine some of these things as well.
I'm going to say this, and by no means am I trying to be pejorative or negative on our fire and police officers, but the country has a special day for them on 9/11 where they are honored and commemorated. November 11th is a Veterans Day. It's not a Fireman's Day. It's not a thank you for your service to police officers. So I'm just kind of giving you an American Legion perspective on that. And again, nothing negative against anybody else in that regards, but you're kind of Mike Regel's opinion only, perturbating or bastardizing what is Veterans Day.
Thank you. Commissioner Zymek has his hand raised, and then Chair Palmer.
Well, yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with Commissioner Regal. Yeah, Veterans Day is for veterans. And this whole conversation kind of brings up a discussion we had last month at our Thunderbird Veterans Memorial Board meeting, and that was what to do Veterans Day. In fact, we even came up with an idea, and we'll see obviously how COVID goes and what the gatherings of people, more than 10 people does. But we were thinking about, and this is something that could be done at the last minute, depending on the COVID response with social media and everything else, to have a open picnic, if you will, at the, and I'll say this tongue in cheek, the only true Veterans Memorial the city has, and that's at the airport. There isn't another Veterans Memorial. The one at City Hall is dedicated to the chaplains, and the Mercy boxcars to the French. And so having something, and there's room at the airport in the big plaza there, where we could just open it up to the population and send it out by social media, have the pipes and drums there, and just have a big party type celebration. And obviously pushing the mask and social distancing, but there certainly is enough room and there's enough parking to have something like that, or to move it, the 1 to 3 songs by pipes and drums, to the airport.
Thank you, Commissioner Zymek. And just, I know Chair Palmer has his hand raised, but quickly, the idea of the Scottsdale Fire Pipes and Drums is not to honor them, but to have them be part of honoring veterans. I'm not aware of another pipe and drum group who we could potentially tap, but I was aware of this one and was able to get at least initial interest. Commissioner Zymek, I did actually think that the Thunderbird 2 would be a great spot for that performance, and I don't have it on this list, but I did think about that. And the only thing I would worry about is potentially the noise from potential traffic, but that may not be that big an issue.
I think that would add to it. And the pipes and drums, I think, would be a drawing card to just to get more people out there to celebrate Veterans Day.
Thank you. Chair Palmer, your hand is raised.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know if you know or don't know, but we have a Coast Guard auxiliary band in Phoenix, which surprised me at one time, but I actually got them to do a Coast Guard funeral for them. But if we wanted a military band, we actually have one in Phoenix. They're the Coast Guard auxiliary.
In fact, let me interject. Let me interrupt real quick and interject something. The Coast Guard Auxiliary Band has played at the last 5 Veterans Day parties at the Railroad Park that I've been to.
Thank you, Commissioner Zymek. I don't think it's the last 5, but it's certainly the last 2 or 3. And yes, they honestly have been great. And I did think about them as another possible performing group.
Okay, so now so everybody knows about that group, so we're good there if we go that way. The question I have is, obviously COVID shapes all of this, and I think you, Kelly, were proposing basically a virtual Veterans Day where we pre-record in appropriate size groups, certain messages at certain locations and with certain people, but not to have a in-person crowd supported event. Was that your original vision?
Yes, Chair Palmer, that is correct.
Okay. Is it feasible, and this is just planning wise, feasible to have, you know, an option if our numbers are down appropriately, and I think we can do the social distancing up there, but you know, we probably will still have the mask rules and stuff. So the question is, can we plan both events, or is that too much? Because right now, I don't think we can say we can have a live performance.
Chair Palmer, members of the commission, I think it's potentially, I think it's potentially possible to try to turn, as Commissioner Zymek recommended, turn the performance into an event where the public could come and see it, and that would kind of be the extent of it. So I can certainly give that some more thought. What we can't really do is turn the event that we've done at the railroad park on and off. We're past the window for a lot of the things that we need to do if that event was to occur the way we've done it in the past. So that's why we're looking at doing things a little differently. But I appreciate the ideas here, and can certainly see how it could be possible that if COVID's in a better place on in early November, that perhaps the performance that we were going to record and share could be recorded but also attended live. So I think that's an idea worth pursuing, and I will do that. I see Chair Palmer's hand. You're still up, and okay.
Let me take it down. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. The only other thing I was going to mention is another piece of content that we could create is to ask Joan Fidala to put together her notable Scottsdale veterans presentation in some sort of video form that we can share. We're also looking at potentially creating a simple photo montage video style with city employees who are veterans, and potentially members of the community, just to kind of show people some veterans on our staff and also in our community, such as the members of this esteemed commission. And we've also thought about ways we could reach out to the community through social media and say, hey, if you have a veteran you want to honor, send us their photo and their name, and we'll put it in this video roll. So that's another idea that we're working on as well. So that covers it in general. I've been very honored to be part of putting Scottsdale's Veterans Day commemoration together for the 10 years that I've worked here in Scottsdale, and it's a great event, and I love working on it. So I want to make sure that anything we do this year is carries the same level of commitment to honoring veterans, and so I appreciate your thoughts and ideas on this. With that, that's all I had, Chair Palmer.
Okay, and anyone else have any additional comments? Oop, are you still there? Okay.
I just
My
like to
screen
say,
changed.
from my standpoint, boy, the pictures are finally showing up when somebody talks. But I'd like to thank Kelly for all he's done for the veteran community and the Veterans Day commemoration and all over the years. That's really appreciated. I had no idea who was spearheading it through the city, but obviously Kelly, you've done it, and that's awesome.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Zymek. Ably assisted by many city staff, including the folks at the railroad park who've been awesome throughout it all. Chair Palmer, I also have hands raised from Commissioner Stemple and Commissioner Regal.
Okay.
Commissioner Stemple, maybe you're on mute.
I'm now I'm on mute, off of mute. I just wanted to tell you that the Veterans Day Parade in Phoenix has been called off, and they were going to try to do something remotely, and now not sure what's going on. Just for your information, that that takes a lot of preparation, and it looks like it's not going to happen. So that's for your information.
Thank you, Commissioner Stemple. Commissioner Regal.
Kelly was passing out the good thanks to other people, but you should all know, if anybody saw the birthday drive-by parade that was done for Athena Wright last Tuesday, he put together in less than a week's time with police, fire, water, and sanitation, in addition to members throughout the city of Scottsdale, to drive by the ladies' senior assisted living place for her 105th birthday. So Kelly, your hats off on that too.
Thank you, Commissioner Regal. That was an honor to do. What an amazing lady, and we're very proud to have her.
I tell you, we made that deal with him, Kelly. Only 100, and every 5 years after you have to do that. Okay.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you. So I think that's it for item number 4, Chair Palmer.
Okay. Next on our agenda is presentation. Well, there won't be a presentation, but a discussion of the Marion County point in time homeless count for 2020. Plus, the commission should have also gotten a list of another document that we've collected on the homeless, sent out to you as well. So I think we could discuss that. But as you know, we've been waiting for the point in time homeless count, and again, hats off to Kelly getting all that rounded up for us. They've been keeping you busy there, Kelly. But right now, what you're seeing on the screen, we do at least the point in time picked up that there were 10 veterans who claim to be veterans that are homeless are in Scottsdale. And I think it was 105 total, wasn't it, Kelly, of homeless in Scottsdale? 102?
Yes, Chair Palmer. I think it was somewhere in that vicinity. Yes.
102.
Now, yeah, it was a double from what existed before. So I just bring this up because, as you know, the mayor has asked us to explore this and see what we can do. The second paper that you sent, and did anyone not see the second attachment? Kelly just sent it out today, I believe.
I haven't seen
Okay.
it.
You haven't seen the point in time?
I got that, but I haven't seen this particular chart unless I didn't copy enough of it.
No, this chart I just asked Kelly to
Oh, okay.
find out who the 10 vets were that we had. So he just listed them and what we found out what their situations were. So and you can see the age groups too, which they may or may not know what age they are. So, and again, there was no vetting of it. These were self-proclaimed veterans as part of that process. So there's 10 out of 102 in Scottsdale. So 10% of them are vets. The second document, which did, and by the way, I reached out to Don because I know he was working that issue to some degree, but he's not in town. So he dropped a note, and I'll follow up with Don on that. But I see we have one Scottsdale, we have one shelter and with supporting services in Scottsdale. And to be honest, I don't know where that is. I think some of the board members do, if I'm not correct. Or commission members, excuse me. Or not. I might have been Don that knew where that was. Anyway, that second letter lists some their approaches that is working, as well as efforts they're trying to do, which appears to build more shelters and stuff. I'm not sure that's in our purview, but I think as we collect the information and as we prepare a briefing or prepare our report, capturing the homeless vets, and then I'm not sure we have any recommendations on how to solve or to deal with that, other than to support the other initiatives that are going on in the community. The one thing that I did think was appropriate was the Phoenix mayor was proposing that this be an area, not a city supported effort. So instead of Scottsdale just taking care of Scottsdale, we do it like the fire department does. We cover down on the whole city, and it's a whole city effort. So I'll open that up to discussion.
Chair Palmer, Commissioner Zimek's hand is raised.
Yeah, thank you for getting us all this information. You know, as you recall, the point in time count report and the other piece that you sent is something that we discussed our very first meeting as far as what we're going to do. And one thing that's really stood out to me is the small number of veterans. You know, we're looking at roughly 6.5% of the homeless people in the entire metropolitan area are veterans based on the self-reporting. That's only 494 out of 7,400 or so homeless people. And I think, and I don't know what the mayor has, what he's thinking, but I think any focus we have should be on those 494 of the veterans.
I'm just holding in case somebody else has got a hand up to talk, but yeah, I agree. I think and if we really focus, it's really 10 veterans, the 10 you're seeing on the screen, because those are the ones that are in Scottsdale. But I think we've got to look at the area support, but I agree with you, very low number. So I guess the question is, obviously the mayor's worried about all homelessness piece, but the veterans, we've got 10 that are identified. And if I'm not mistaken, none of those were in shelters, correct? And I'm not. Kelly, do we know that number? You know, I didn't check on the bigger spreadsheet.
Chair Palmer, I am,
there it
in
is.
fact, I believe this whole count is those who are not in a shelter. And so
Okay.
this column on the screen now mentions or reports what they told the observer in terms of why they were not in a shelter.
Oh, well, did I miss the fact that we have more veterans that are in? See, we have one Scottsdale shelter. So since none of them are in the shelter, does anybody know where that shelter is?
Chair Palmer, I'm not aware of a shelter in Scottsdale. I know that the county was looking to create a transitional facility dedicated to getting folks at high risk for COVID into housing. I'm not sure where that stands. That was planned for a location in Scottsdale. I'm not sure where that stands. I'm not aware of another one. I know that our own Human Services department is using some of the city's CARES Act funding as authorized by the council to get some of the homeless folks into temporary hotel rooms, but that's not a long-term solution. That's more of a month-by-month type thing. I see Commissioner Ragel's hand is raised, and then Commissioner Zimek.
Yeah, let me follow real quick, and then we can go there. The reason I'm asking that, Kelly, is on the second sheet I sent you on what was being done, and we'll have to follow up with the guy that made this report. But they're saying Scottsdale has a shelter with supportive services, so I don't know where that is. So, and obviously you're not aware of it, so it may not exist. But I'll take that on to follow up with the person that sent this report and see what this Walt Gray. So I'll follow up with him and see what he considers is that shelter. So, and first question or first hand.
Yeah, this is Mike. I was in the same, I guess, boat, Pete, when you sent this thing out, because I'm unaware of any shelter in the Scottsdale area that could be used for veterans from us at the post and for other things like I do with St. Vincent de Paul. The two I know of are the Manor House in Phoenix, and then also the Ozanam Manor that's down at the St. Vincent de Paul runs down in South Phoenix that are geared towards veterans. Mannon is 100% veterans. Ozan and Man are down there. I think it's a third are veterans. And so they're specifically targeted towards them. So that may be some of the reason why the numbers are a little lower for veterans, as some of these folks are already in places that are specifically veteran only.
And we had, I agree. I think we got more data search to do here.
Commissioner Zimek's hand is raised.
Okay, well, again, I just Googled Scottsdale Veterans Shelter, and the interesting thing that on a number of these shelters that are listed in the narrative, it says it must include Scottsdale, must include Scottsdale. So who knows? But on the map, it says there's a Veterans on Patrol Alpha Camp. It's actually just east of Casino, Arizona, in which I guess technically is more Mesa than it is in Scottsdale, but that's the closest one listed.
Okay. And any other questions?
Chair Palmer, I don't see any other hands raised. The only other observation I would offer is in that larger list of the 102 homeless in Scottsdale, at least half of that list were observed but not interviewed. So I would say it's quite likely that there are more homeless veterans in Scottsdale than just the ones on this list. But if they choose not to speak to the interviewer, that's information that we just don't know.
Yeah, we can't guess, but okay.
The other thing I'll offer up, Chair Palmer, is I learned late this afternoon our human services folks sent over a note just to let me know, and I'll let you know that there are 2 veterans. I don't know if they are among these 10, but 2 veterans who have been homeless who are now going to be getting one of those temporary hotel rooms that I had mentioned through our human services program, and that all happens through the VA.
Okay. So can you get me the information on that program?
Yes, I will. In fact,
Or get the commission.
In speaking with our Greg Bestian, our human services director, I think he's hopeful that he's going to have even more substantial programs to announce here soon. So I'll speak with him and get a sense of timing on that, and perhaps we could have him speak to you all at an upcoming meeting.
Okay. And if everyone concurs, I will get a hold of this Walt Gray on the one information piece and see if I can peel back where he got his data and how he got it, and try to provide more for our next meeting.
I see.
Makes sense. Thanks.
Yes. And I don't see any other hand raised, Chair Palmer.
Okay. I guess the only other thing I'd ask Kelly is now the question is, we've got the data, what would be the expectations of the mayor and the city council on what they think we should be, or should we be coming up with some kind of solution to this? And I don't expect an answer now, but I think that's what we all have to address. Is there some kind of program or something that we would propose that would address this issue? Personally, I don't have one right offhand, but I'm thinking we ought to think through that in case we do have any recommendations.
Commissioner Zimek's hand is raised.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Pete. Especially, I think it's important for us to come up with some kind of a game plan. Otherwise, the mayor and city council might dictate something that we don't want to do, i.e., help all the homeless.
Yeah, I'm sort of struggling with how do you separate this problem just for the vets, because I'm not sure how to do that other than you know, if the county took a regional approach and again, what would be the city's role in a regional approach? But here's what I propose. We all put on our thinking caps. Next time we'll bring that, if we can add this to the agenda next time, just as a follow-up discussion. And because to be honest, we're getting to the point where at some point we're going to need to do our end of year report, which if I'm not mistaken, Kelly, we got to pretty much be working on next month.
Chair Palmer, yes, probably. Yes, in October, and then kind of finish it up in November for a report out in December.
Okay, yeah, I was thinking the report had to be into November, but we probably should be thinking initially next month. So that probably ought to be on our agenda as well. Okay, if there are any other questions or discussions on this agenda item, no more? Okay, then the next one is any reports, updates, suggestions for future agenda items, which I just proposed one. So I open it up and it's next, is it Wednesday on the 7th for the next meeting?
Yes, it's Wednesday, October 7th. I know that Commissioner Polk couldn't make the 4 o'clock time for this meeting, and I apologize. I know we've bounced the time around. It would be nice to, if nobody objects, I would suggest we go back to the 5 p.m. Start time. That seemed to work best for everybody. And now that the city has the ability to do 2 of these virtual meetings simultaneously, we don't have as much of an issue on the city side with that 5 p.m. time.
I am good with that. I got a potential conflict in November, but I open it up to the rest of the chairs to see if you're interested. Is 5 o'clock a good time?
Sure, and maybe we'll meet in person.
5 o'clock is good with me.
It works better for me.
Okay, Kelly, I think we got a unanimous. Let's go with 5 o'clock.
5 p.m. it is. And also, I think there's many folks who are definitely interested in meeting in person as soon as we can. I'll keep you posted on how facility openings are going. I would consider that. I think it would be a possibility for October, although certainly not a guarantee.
Let's have it at the Legion.
We'll host it.
Thank you for that. I will say that regardless of where we meet in person, we do have to have the ability to record it because that's part of the city policy that these meetings are at least audio recorded so we can provide them after the fact.
I think that's possible, but Kelly, just a simple question too. Does the city council still meet?
The city council have been meeting in the Kiva.
Okay.
In a special setup that keeps them 6 feet apart, and really, city manager, city attorney are there, but not many other staff are there. So,
well, I mean, I know that place where we had been meeting over there off of Indian School, is it?
The community design studio.
We could social distance in there for just the 6 of us and your staff as well, and any attendees, I thought.
I don't disagree, Commissioner Regal. We'll have to approach it from sort of a citywide policy perspective, but I'll start the conversation here internally to see if that might be possible, because I think everybody prefers meeting face to face.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stempel's hand is raised.
I was just addressing 6. Item 6, is that what we're on, I suppose?
Yes.
Yes. Chairman Palmer, you asked me to get a count of some of the major veterans organizations of people. Would you like me just to send that information to you and Kelly? Because I have DAB, DFW, KWVA and the American Legion.
Yeah, if you can just send this to us in an
All right,
email,
that's
that
fine.
would be good.
Okay, very good.
I see a hand raised from Commissioner Regal.
Just a quick one for Joel. I know you called my vice commander to get that data, Joel. Were you looking for any, we didn't get to ask you the question, any of the other organizations that we have, like our auxiliary, like our Sons of the American Legion, that
I
are
don't
also
think-
part of it?
I don't know. We, when we talked about it, we just, we suggested that we get the major organizations here. In other words, if they gave me a figure of 913 for the American Legion, now I don't think that includes your auxiliary, et cetera, or Sons of the American Revolution or anything.
No, that doesn't.
They just asked me for the major organizations, so I called different people and I got that information.
If you need more, just let me know.
Thank you.
Hey, Joel, this is Pete. And the numbers you're going to send, is that people in Scottsdale or members of that
That's
organization?
a member of the organization, and I asked the people when they talked about it. They intimated that it was mostly people in Scottsdale. This is what they told me, because that was the question. I said, "How many members do you have in your organization that live in Scottsdale?" This is what they gave me. Now that, and whether they really drilled down, I don't know. I just got the raw numbers from them.
Okay.
My question was pretty specific. Now, whether they answered me specifically, I don't know.
Well, we're just trying to get in the ballpark anyway. So
Right. It's surprising. I was surprised by the amount. That's interesting.
Okay.
Chair,
Any other questions?
I don't see any other hands raised at the moment.
Okay, then that concludes our agenda this evening. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn. This is Joel.
Seconded.
Okay, anyone opposed? Motion's passed. We're adjourned. And thank you, Kelly, for
Well
all
done.
your efforts on this whole effort piece. I know it's a little harder.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Be well, and we'll be in touch.
Bye-bye.
Good job, guys
Bye.
and gals.